want to talk about this Romano story that's come out, though. It literally came out in the last few minutes. Fabrizio Romano talking about the striker situation at Manchester United. And an interesting development here, because obviously we had the Ornstein update this week, basically talking about this Rasmus Osman swap being highly unlikely, Man United. And I do understand this. We can't, on one hand, sack half our workforce, and then on the other hand, be going out spending 60, 70 million pounds and giving 250 grand a week to Victor Osman. I don't know how that actually works. Fabrizio certainly hasn't mentioned a swap deal with Osman at all. So let's just be very clear. Fabrizio is not talking about a swap deal with Osman and Rasmus. He's not talking about that. It's never had any relevant journalists talking about it, really. What he is saying is that obviously certain people are putting stories out there about Rasmus and there would be interest. There has been clubs that have approached Man United and Rasmus about whether there is any prospect of him moving in the summer. I would take this as a positive. I think that those clubs that are approaching Man United or asking Rasmus's representatives about it just shows exactly what some of us think. I think there's a very good striker there. Obviously, he's not had the best of season. Obviously, it's not been the best season for Manchester United, but the fact that clubs would be interested if Man United are looking to sell, I think it just shows what I see and what some people see as well, that there is a striker there that can do a job in, up front for a football side. And Italian clubs, Spanish clubs, apparently, according to Fabrizio. Hello, everybody. Today's clip is supported by Sleeper. Before we dive in, let me tell you a bit more about Sleeper. This app is making serious waves. It was the #1 downloaded sports app in the US during the NFL season, even beating heavyweights such as ESPN and Yahoo. Sleeper isn't just popular, it's because they truly deliver the best fantasy experience. You get deeper customization, more league options, and all the bells and whistles that make managing your fantasy team a blast. But that's not all. Sleeper is growing a fantastic community with several million people using it daily for their sports fix. Sleeper has a broad appeal and is genuinely built for everyone. So, if you're looking to up your fantasy game, make sure to check out Sleeper by clicking the link in the video description. Trust me, you won't regret it. As I said last night and this week, I just don't see that being United's avenue, really, because if you let Rasmus go, you need to bring 2 strikers in. And I think that's what people are missing here. I don't think Rasmus wants to go. I don't think Amrin wants him to go. I think he wants another striker. And I think ideally he wants Gyökeres. And I think that's what he wants. Now, if that happened and Rasmus said, I don't want to be second fiddle, I want to go and play first team football somewhere, then maybe that's what this is all about. We never think about it from the players' side. But from Manchester United's side, we need 2 strikers. Obi Martin is not going to be ready next season. I think we've got a very interesting player there. He's been with the Danish under-21s. He's 17. He's not actually ready to be Man United's second striker yet. And we've got to be... I like him as the third striker or we loan him out. But we do need 2 strikers. Imagine if you sold Rasmus and you brought in Osman, and then Osman does his hamstring for 6 weeks. Who's playing up front again? So we need 2 strikers. Ideally, I think the plan will be to keep Rasmus and bring another player in. And I think that's where we're at here. But it is interesting that Fabrizio is saying that because of some of the stories, some clubs have inquired about the availability. But let's not forget as well, and I think people do forget about this, like we can talk about signing anybody, but the club is broke and therefore the club will be looking to sell to buy. So if any offer comes in that's really good for a player, then I think United will certainly listen to it, whether it be Mainu, Rasmus, Garnacho or whoever. But the interesting thing about someone like Rasmus and Onana is that they're only 2 years in this summer to their stay at Manchester United, and we paid 50 for Onana and we paid, was it 60 for Rasmus? So amortization, you'd be needing to recoup 40 million for Rasmus just not to make a loss on FFP. So it's not as easy as saying, well, let's sell Rasmus and buy Osman, because if you sell Rasmus for 40 million, you've actually not made any money. You've just actually just broken even. So that's not 40 million of pound per profit. Whereas if you sell Garnacho for £50 million, it's £50 million of pure profit that technically can be used to spend on Osman, whereas for Rasmus, it would just be getting your money back. So, yeah, I know what some people will jump on that Romano story, but when you listen to what he said and you don't read an aggregator quote, what he actually said is that some clubs have inquired to see what's actually happening, and if he was moving in the summer, then they'd be interested. But what I've been told is that those clubs inquiring aren't knocking on the door saying, we'll give you £80 million for Rasmus. Of course they're bloody not. They're knocking on the door going, we'll give you 40 or we'll take him on loan. And that's what people are inquiring about. And I think that's the important part of that story, is that, yes, there are clubs interested in Rasmus if he's available, but they're not sat there ready to with a blank check saying, name the price. They're there going, we'll take him on loan off you, or we'll give you 35 million or something like that. And everybody knows Man United are desperate. So I think this is the most important thing, and this is why I love this community, because you see Fabrizio saying, oh yeah, there's clubs interested in Rasmus if he's available, and people start thinking, yeah, swap him for Osman. They don't think about the financial fair play, that we won't make any profit on Rasmus, and they also don't think about the reality, and I think Patrick Lynch mentioned this a few weeks ago, is that this could be a very long, drawn-out summer for Manchester United, because we've already missed out on Kenda because we've got to sell to buy, and we're going to have to sell to buy, and people know we're going to have to sell to buy, so no one's going to knock on the door and say, hey, we'd love to sign Delo off you for £50 million. They're not. They're going to go, we'll give you 25 million. Yeah, they're going to undercut us, and that's going to be problematic as well. But on the striker situation, I think that what Fabrizio had to say about Ekitike was very interesting, which I'll talk about in a moment, because Ray Carl, we've got a bit of a target here for you to hit if you want the live show, so check that out in the live chat. Exactly, we need 2 centre-forwards. We can't sell Rasmus and have just one up front, relying on Obi Martin, says Ray Carl. Hope you're doing well, mate, legend. Keel Robinson says, Soleimani, Job, Davies, Gomez, Ethan, Mbappe, says Keel. Send Rasmus to Bayern plus 30 million buy obligation, says Enchanted Angel. We can't... it's an opinion, Enchanted Angel, but we can't be... Listen to what Ray said there. We need 2 strikers. We can't loan one of our strikers out. That just can't happen. And remember, but I agree, I think a lot of people... Philippe, welcome to Members Club. I think a lot of people will be asking for loan deals out of Man United, because you look at what Rashford and Antony have done, but that's not going to help us. We've got to do that, of course. Lloyd Dingle, welcome to the Members Club. But it was interesting what Fabrizio said about Ekitike, because it's funny, isn't it? We've had a bit of chat this week about Ekitike, the Eintracht Frankfurt striker, and I think some people have been a bit uncertain about him. The funny thing is, he's just scored a hat-trick last night for the under-21s. Fabrizio's update is that basically Ekitike will be leaving Eintracht Frankfurt this summer. The Premier League is the most likely outcome. There is interest, but no firm talks with anybody. I think we're out that race already. I mean, I'm here to be proven wrong, but I think we're out the Ekitike race already. I mean, I can almost see Newcastle cashing in on Isak now, taking Ekitike at half the price and him being the next Isak. I'm not saying that's going to happen, and if I've called that, I'm a bloody genius. But I can see Newcastle going, this Ekitike looks really good. They were linked to Newcastle were linked to him a couple of years ago as well. I could see Newcastle maybe selling Isak for 100 million, buying Ekitike for 60 or 65, and they make a load of profit, and then they bring a striker in that actually will probably end up in the next 2 or 3 years being the next Isak. But he's got lots of potential, like ABC says. But I think we're priced out of that deal straight away. He is going to go for north of 65 million, I think. Definitely 60 million. And we are not going to spend that money on a player like that. We're just not going to do it. So I think we're gradually eliminating striker options. I've got to be honest, I'm not that hot on Sesko. I was reading about Ekitike this morning, and it's absolutely true. When you look at his game compared to Sesko, he's had a better season at Eintracht Frankfurt than Sesko's had at Leipzig. And yeah, Sesko's got the long shot on him. I think that's a very good thing. But I think in every other area, you could argue that Ekitike is better. So I'm not too sure about Sesko. I'd rather he ended up somewhere else. I might be completely wrong, but I don't see that being happen. So yeah, I mean, I think in relation to the striker situation, I still think, as we were talking about yesterday, Jonathan David is probably what Man United are looking to do as a free, or a Liam Delap on the cheap. I don't see Ekitike, Osimhen, Gyökeres, even a Sesko. I don't see those players being the sort of player that we're looking at. Fabrizio said this morning that Man United are looking to bring in an important striker, and that led him on to talking about the Rasmus situation. But let's be honest, if we bring Liam Delap or Jonathan David in, you don't sell Rasmus to bring them in. Like, that would be ridiculous. Rasmus goes and you bring Liam Delap or Jonathan David in. We've got one striker again. So I think that's where we're shopping, and I think it will be very evident this summer of what Man United's plans are, really, because when we see the likes of Gyökeres, Osimhen, Ekitike, where they go and what we end up with, I think we'll understand more about where this football club is heading. I mean, it was very... Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video, because we all know only legends like videos, and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video, and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, as always.